Hello, bitch faces.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. This podcast was brought to you by my nuts. Just fucking kidding.
Korean scrotum.
Yeah, to my fucking walnut-shaped nuts.
Get it at H Mart.
Get it at H. You can get it at H Mart or any Korean grocer. You could find David So's nuts right there. Also in your mother's mouth.
Imported from Seoul.
Have you been? Do you know anything about Andrew Yang?
The presidential candidate, Andrew Yang?
Yeah, I know nothing about this guy. All I know is that he wants to give me $1,000 a month.
Well, I know he was an entrepreneur, in the tech world.
Oh,
yeah, that's his background. So that's why he likes to solve things through business and numbers and stuff like that. And I don't know. I like how he just talks about shit that's based on problem solution and not so much like identity politics and shit like that.
Yeah.
He's not really about that game.
well, just watching him speak is kind of refreshing for me. I mean, this is not an Asian bias type of thing, but he sounds very unscripted. Because when I was watching the Democratic debates, everybody sounded very scripted, right?
Yeah.
So there was like the guy who talked about, it was something along the lines of like murder rates in the city haven't gone down, or something about like cop and like race relations and stuff. He goes, to be honest with you, I have failed. I have failed my people. I mean, the answer was great, right? But it sounded so scripted.
Like rehearsed.
It sounded very rehearsed. It found very disingenuous. Like I can't. It's not that I don't really fuck with that, because I feel like a lot of politicians do talk like that. So it's been around for so long. But to hear the opposite, I guess it's the same effect that Trump had, right? Where a lot of people are like, oh, he's so off the cuff. He's just telling it like how it is. But this one is he's more pieced together. Yeah. And he's a self-made guy, right?
I'm not sure.
Maybe?
Yeah, I didn't do that much research on the dude, but you know what's crazy? So his somebody on his campaign actually reached out to me, and I lost his freaking message.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because this was right several months ago, right when he was about to get before Joe Rogan and all that stuff. Right. So he basically hit me up. I forgot if it was Instagram or wherever. He DM'd me and he's like, hey, I'm a part of Andrew Yang's campaign. Would you like to have him on Just Kidding News or something?
Oh, what?
I'm going to try to find him again, because that'll be awesome if we could bring him down here. Because, I'm not a liberal. He's of the left, right? He's progressive Democrat, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not Republican either. If anything, if I had to choose a political party, I think my ideals are more libertarian than anything. But I vote independent, because I would I'd vote right or left depending on whatever president I feel is cool.
Yeah.
But in Andrew's case, I think he's from the left, but he's not playing the game of the left. So the left right now, I think, has gone more left. They're not moderate anymore. There's no real moderates left. Yeah. Everyone except, I don't know, maybe Joe Biden is like of the old guard. Mm-hmm. But everyone else, like Warren, Tulsi, fucking what's his name, Sanders, Bernie, the biggest one. Yeah. Like they're more like a new left. So Bernie is more like democratic socialist. Mm-hmm. Like, so if you look at the political spectrum, the way it goes is, I think it goes like, on the very, very left, you got anarchy, and then you have communism, and you have socialism, then you have liberal, Democrat, and then you have moderate, and or the middle, and then you have Republican conservative, libertarian, and then nationalist or something like that. So if you look at the very, very right and very, very left or something, that's the whole political spectrum. And I think if you boil it down, the more left you go, the more you believe the government should control everything. The more right you go, the more you believe the government should stay away from running people's lives. Yeah. So, so I think anarchy might be the very, very, very right. I don't know. I'm don't quote me on this shit. It's just off the cuff. So I don't really, you guys got to look this up. But that's basically the idea of left politics and right politics. One is big government. One is no to little government.
It's such a weird space because like so many people talk on Twitter. You know, politics is the biggest thing on Twitter and Facebook.
I don't know how it got that way too.
I don't know.
That's just boring, man.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, man. Like
I love studying it, but I mean, dude, it's like WWE. I don't believe none of that shit.
There's a lot of just hardcore adjectives to describe a whole group of people.
Oh man.
You know, it's like you fucking leftist. Oh, you fucking, snowflake this, you fucking conservative shit that. I'm like, I don't even know if half the people understand what they're saying.
Yeah,
or
they
what,
don't.
You know, because I feel like for me, politics are like the hardest thing to get into. I don't know what's fact. I don't know what statistics are right. I don't know anything, right? Because I could find a statistic that matches this person's argument, but I could find the exact opposite with the statistic that says the complete opposite of what they're saying.
Yeah, I think that's the issue right now is like the whole echo chamber thing is like everyone is like, oh, you're stupid because you don't have facts. You're not listening to facts, right? But then like you said, everyone's getting biased opinion pieces. Like even in journalism today, like there's a lot of opinion pieces and not real journalism. Like everything is just what this guy thinks about this shit. So, I mean, Wall Street Journal, CNN, everybody is like pretty similar. So it's difficult when you have a narrative fed to you versus just facts, like a police report. Right. But that's not entertainment and that's not good information because people get bored of that. Like people don't want to sit there and read the actual policies. They don't want to read a police report. They just want to see everything else. Like no one fucking read the Trayvon Martin like court case and details and everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to say no one, but it's a very small percentage. Everybody that was outraged about it
For sure.
never read anything. But it's the same thing with everything, right? Like how many Christians do you know that don't read the Bible?
True.
They're so Christian, but they haven't even read the whole Bible.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same shit with politics. Like there's so many people that don't even know how our government operates. They don't even know what a Senate is. They're like, what? I thought the president makes all the decisions. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Are you serious?
It's hard, man. It's people are just so definitive about how they feel about something that they know nothing about. And it's kind of scary to me. It's like, how can you be so bold with all these like harsh statements when when it comes to the time where if somebody asked you let's just go back to the Bible, right? Like if somebody could just break somebody down verse for verse and they're not even part of that religion and they go, okay, well, I know this about the Bible. What do you? And they go, I don't know. I just believe in it. And it's hard. It's almost hard to argue or even bring up a point to somebody who's so just enveloped into something they know nothing about.
Yeah.
Because they just do it off of straight emotion.
Yeah. I mean, and that leads to extremism.
Yeah.
Right. Because you think you got all the answers and your team is right and everybody else is wrong. And I think it's getting worse and worse. So, you know about Andy Ngo?
Mm-mm.
So, okay. Andy Ngo is this journalist, right? He's a photojournalist. And, he recently got fucked up by Antifa.
Oh,
like
shit.
They beat him down. They fucking gave him a brain hemorrhage and all that shit, right?
What's Antifa?
So Antifa stands for anti-fascists. Okay. Right? And this group, I didn't know they exist in the US. I knew that they were always out in Europe because I would watch these I loved watching soccer brawls. You ever see those soccer brawls where they just go and fucking fight, right? And then I'll see some links of riots and protests going down. And they'll have nationalist, socialist groups out there, Nazis or whatever. And I think Antifa was like the counter. So they're like they're like the extreme left. So if Nazism and all that or nationalism is the extreme right, then Antifa is the extreme left. And I don't really know too much of their history, whether like how it formed or anything, but I'm guessing they were probably a bunch of dudes like, we got to do something. There's Nazis out there and they came together. But here's the problem, right? Andy Ngo is Vietnamese and he's gay.
Okay.
And they're fucking beating this dude up.
Oh, shit.
So it's like, and a lot of members of Antifa are white. So you got a bunch of white dudes that's fighting for fucking democracy and diversity and like, they're there thinking that they're protecting the world from Nazism, and then these white guys are out there beating down this fucking gay Vietnamese dude.
What in the fuck?
And here's why: they claim that he's a white supremacist.
Andy, no.
Is a white supremacist. This is how crazy it's getting, right? So in their mind, if you help the white supremacy, you are a white supremacist, and you don't have to be white for that.
What the fuck?
I don't get it either. I don't fucking. They call Jewish people white supremacists, dude. Like, it's by definition, Jewish people cannot be white supremacists.
Yeah,
that's who they targeted. That's what Nazis targeted.
Yeah,
and people just don't get it. They just think the word white supremacy, they think Caucasians that are superior. That's all they think.
Yeah.
But they don't understand the definition of white supremacy is actually Nazism, and they have their own philosophy. And Nazism is highly built off of Hitler's Mein Kampf. He wrote a book about it, and the whole concept, if I could summarize it, they believe that there's a Jewish conspiracy out there. And Jewish people control a lot of media and banks and stuff like that, right? And then they feel that they're out there using people and destroying cultures and all that. And that's why Germans, they needed to rise up, because after World War I, Germany was a dirt fucking poor country because they were the aggressors in World War I. So they were being punished. And at the time, a lot of Jewish people were, with their hard work, they were becoming rich in Germany. So a lot of German citizens and locals were angry because they're like, we're white, we're poor, and all these foreigners are coming in and running all of our shit. And like, you know, there's a conspiracy, and that's how Nazism came to power. Yeah. And then so fast forward to today, right? Like there's that kind of anti-Semitism and all that still exists. And then so you got these guys that are out there preaching white supremacy, Nazism, and anti-Semitism. They all believe that there's a Jewish conspiracy, all this stuff. And then so that's what a white supremacist is. But now they're saying like, if you're an alt-right thinker, or if you're a conservative or a Republican, you're a Nazi. So they'll have guys like Ben Shapiro. You know, he's a conservative journalist or he does talks and stuff.
High pitched voice, yeah.
Yeah. And then they call him a white supremacist. Yeah, they won't let him speak on campus because they're like, he has a white supremacist ideology, and all he is just conservative.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? What's this world coming to, man? It's crazy.
Where do these people fucking find each other?
I don't know, man. It's nuts. There's even a black conservative lady named Candace Owens, right? And there's video of her. There's these Antifa guys that are surrounding her and like calling her fucking racist and Nazi and all that. And get this,
these black woman.
Yes, and the guys that are calling her that are white.
That's fucking hilarious, dude. That's a Dave Chappelle skit right there.
It is. Dude. It is. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. And there's video. You could see this shit on YouTube. She's being harassed by Antifa, and then she had to hide in a restaurant. And these guys are like you fucking racist. Yeah, you bigot. And like they're calling her a bigot and a Nazi and all this stuff. And it's like, yo. Does anyone see how crazy this shit is? A group of white guys calling a black woman a Nazi?
Yeah.
A racist? Like, so.
No, that's fucking crazy.
It's fucking nuts, man. So I hate extremism from either parties, right? And I'm sure like not all of Antifa is like that. It might be like anonymous, where like it's kind of like a bunch of people, and you're always gonna have some fucking idiots, right? That are gonna do. I don't know if they all think this, but it's just crazy because like they don't get reported. No one really like, you know, the news doesn't report this shit. So I'm just like, what's going on, man? Why can't people just like talk and it's just weird. It's just
I think just from like a basic understanding of just people who just don't know about shit, rather just get caught up in the emotion than do the own research for themselves, right? So it's easier for them just to go along with the group than for them to really sit down and dissect why they feel a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the scary part too, because there's a lot of young people. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. There's anybody on Twitter, young or old.
There's a lot of dumbass old people too,
dude.
man.
Facebook,
oh my God.
Facebook is a breeding ground for some of the dumbest old people on earth.
People are just, I have this theory. I mean, it's not even a theory, dude. I just think people in general are the most dumbest. You know what it is? I just heard this podcast and it's so right. Like people think we're human, like we're like human first, right? I'm like, nah, dude, we're all animals first, and people need to learn how to be a fucking human being. I think we're all animals. Yeah. And I'm like, man, if you don't know how to, if you don't know self-control, if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, if you don't have self-awareness, if you don't, you know, if you don't have any of these things, you're not a human being. You're just reacting. You know, you're an animal.
Yeah, and even the underlying thing beyond that with like politics, people don't realize how big money plays into it. You know, like money is everything,
big time,
and they don't see it. They don't see them being swayed by a lot of these. I think it's also just because for us, we understand how powerful money is and what it goes into swaying people's like perception of things.
Yeah,
and so for me, it's just like for example, here's something very small, right? So I know somebody who lives out in Texas, and it's an Asian dude. Asian guy moves to Texas and he sees all of this just highly conservative like propaganda, right? Yeah. Just saying like the worst shit about Democrats, and just, you know, you see all these like different like cut up videos where it doesn't show the whole story. And, you know, he's constantly going on these Facebook rants saying like, yo, fuck Democrats, fuck these like snowflakes and everything else. And mind you, like he's showing me these things, and I go on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook that often, and I see this stuff, and I see some other media company talking about the same thing, but it's different evidence, right? And it's taking what they're doing and chopping it up too. And so I've known this guy for a very long time, and I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, bro, so why do you really feel this way?" He goes, "Well, it's because the facts are there." I was like, "Cool. Well, let me show you something real quick." And I sent him. I showed snapshots of my Mac and my feed, right? And I was like, "This is my feed. And look at your feed. You live in a highly red state. I live in a very blue state. This is what we see." It's funny that you think that this is what your Facebook is everybody's Facebook. Yeah. It's not. It's catering to the people that are around you.
That's
what people
the echo chamber, man.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he was like, oh, but you know, those really aren't facts. These are facts. I was like, well, what makes your facts?
That's called a cognitive bias.
Yeah. And I was telling him, it's like, I don't have my foot in this game at all. I don't know shit about politics, but I do know that when you go on this as a fucking 40-something-year-old adult and you're going on these rants about shit that you don't fucking know about. Like, for example, he was, you know,
that's fucking funny.
Yeah. Dude. And I was like, for example, let me just say this. I rolled up one of his posts, right? And he was going on this whole diatribe about like why he loves Trump. You know, and he's, you know, mind you, 40-something-year-old Asian dude, which is very odd.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is why you love Trump. I was like, cool. Well, let me just ask you real quick before you go on. You know, you wrote this whole diatribe about, you know, why you love him and what he's going to do. Cool. What are his policies that you like?
He doesn't know.
He doesn't fucking know.
He doesn't know.
And I'm like, dog, then how fucking dare you go on like this whole week tirade about how much you love Trump, how crappy Democrats are, like how pro-Republican you are, when you don't even know the policies that he's going to bring into his, you know, this is before he became president. So it's like, this is such an odd thing for you to do, especially, and he's not even a little kid, because a lot of people like to bash young people for doing this. He's a fucking 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck were you thinking, dude?
I don't know, man. I think what sucks is that people have to recognize that at the end of the day, the game of America, and we have to realize as Americans, it's like, okay, we fight at the election, but once we get that president in, let's back this president up. Of course, we don't back him up blindly, but it's our president.
Yeah.
So for the next 4 years, we voted this person in, right? But then people are still just against it. So like, when Obama was elected, like people were still against it, calling him like, oh, Obama's a fucking immigrant. Obama's a terrorist. Like, what the fuck, right? Like, it's like there's so much distrust, and you gotta, I don't get it. Like, you gotta play the game and then back them up and go, yeah, he's our president, and hope that he does good, and then wait till the next election and battle it out again. Of course, you're going to have corruption from time to time and whatever. You got to fight that. But I honestly believe that a lot of this is being played on a level that us normies just do not understand. There's things that happen and chess pieces that are being moved on a higher level that I don't think I have the information. So like whatever the media is giving us, whatever we see on the surface, whatever the official
It feels like it's all set up.
White House statements are, like, I'm sure that there's something else going on. I mean, we see this in Hollywood and YouTube all the fucking time. Apology videos, whatever, like scandals, right? Drama that purposely was instigated to drive up a sale. Like, we see this shit on a day-to-day basis. So what I tell people is, like, make sure you don't emotionally invest into anything if it's not you and your friends and family.
Yeah.
So ideas, political groups, even religious groups and whatever, like, don't put your heart and soul into absolutely anything that you do not know 100%. So for example, if I give my fucking dedication to, like, let's say the Democratic Party, right? Like, unless I'm trying to be a president, or like I'm a politician in that party, or I'm deeply in it, like, it's difficult to, what's the word? It's like, you can't trust that organization to control your life.
We're just outsiders looking in, and then we're coming up with these conclusions with stuff that people are feeding to us, right? Yeah. We're not there from the ground level, so we don't even fucking know.
How do you know that they're not playing you?
Yeah.
Because once you give your emotions up and you're reacting to something, right? They got you. That's when they win. And what I mean by that is, like, so for example, Kim Kardashian and Trump does this so fucking geniusly, right? They can stay in your face because they know how to play with the pettiness of human beings. So like, they'll say something that's just enough offensive, but not illegal. Like Kim just busted out her kimono line.
Oh yeah, the clothing, right?
That outraged so many fucking people. So many people got angry. Imagine if nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
And you think she really would have continued with that? Nah, dude. Like, no one would have gave a fuck. And then she purposely did something to outrage the public. I personally think, like, they're kind of genius in the way that they know how to manipulate scandal. And it's evil genius. It's not genius in, like, I'm not saying good job genius. I'm like, wow, dude, like, no matter how much, it's almost like a burning building, right? And I'm like, no matter how much I'm knocking on people's doors and saying, look, dude, like, the building's fucking burning, people don't want to believe it.
I think it's also because people expect our government and people in those type of high positions that they're better than us. So they won't do these type of things, that they always want to believe in the best, right? Because if I were to break it down to somebody who doesn't believe that at all, especially a young person, like, if I could really relate to them, it's like, these YouTubers, they have created fake scandals in order for you to make sure that you give them an undying attention. Yeah. Right. So what makes this person in this public eye any more better than who's to say that your politicians wouldn't do the same?
Oh, they'll do it to grab attention 1,000%.
Yeah. And so I think it goes to that thought of people just wanting to believe that people in our government are above those type of things. And I don't think they're above it. I think they do it the best. I think they do it better than us.
They really, so there's people, so it blows my mind that people actually trusts the government in verbatim. Like, what they say is what they say and what they mean. Like, I'm always looking at context and reading behind the line. Like, I'm reading between the lines and, like, who's really benefiting from this policy, or where does the money go? It's always tied to money, man. When I tell people, like, okay, when it comes to these civil issues, right? Like, things that don't really budge or change much, but people always fight hard for: gun rights, abortion, gay rights, race issues, right? So, like, all these things, there's like an ongoing conversation in America that's just going back and forth and back and forth. These things might change, but the things that don't really change between the two political parties is they'll never ever bite the feed that hand that the hand that feeds them, right? Just do this, watch. But that's why I think people like Bernie and Trump, because, like, these guys are fucking crazy. Like they'll come out and do things that were never done before. But for example, you tell them, all right, put pressure on the pharmaceutical industry. Never fucking do it. They won't do it.
Yeah.
Put pressure on the military industrial complex. They don't even know what that is. Most people. There's war profiteers, right? Like we have a whole system. And Eisenhower said this, like, beware of the military industrial complex. And a lot of, and it's crazy because Trump outright admitted when the Iran shit happened, he was like, there's a lot of people around me that want to go to war. I don't want to go to war. And so he killed that, and we're not going to war with Iran. But there's war hawks in our government because CIA and all the departments, if we go to war, they get more contracts, they get more money, they get more, they get more jobs, and then it stimulates their business, right? So the military is like any other business. How do you stay in business? You have to fight wars. You have to build missiles. You have to fucking build tanks, right? So to me, it's like, it's so simple. It's like like, when I start talking, they're like, oh, you're crazy. That's conspiracy. And it's like, no, that's common sense.
Yeah.
Like the military is a company. It's a registered company. It's an operating business. Yeah. Like they get paid to fucking serve. Like a soldier, they get paid after they go to war for serving.
Yeah.
They don't go for free, like for their American duty. They just like it's a business.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that people don't understand that there is a money trail to everything that's being done.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody can't agree with, people have their own thoughts about things, but I think everybody can agree that money moves everything.
I mean, at least in America.
Yeah, for sure. Money moves everything, everybody's choices, why they choose to support something, why they choose not to support them. Because if it's not dollars going into your pockets, why do you fucking care? Yeah. Even for me on like the ground level, they're like, why do you love Andrew Yang so much? He gonna give me $1,000 a month.
Exactly. Shit.
Which is a very good campaign. I feel like on the basis, on a ground level, it's like, all people hear is $1,000 a month, and he talks about automation. Now, people taking your jobs away. He's essentially doing, in my personal opinion, what Trump was doing, just a lot smarter.
Yeah,
in terms of like, your jobs are going away, and I actually have a real solution for you. Not just fuck these people that are trying to take oil away. It's gonna go away. It's a finite amount. These are facts. It's a finite amount. It will go away eventually. He's going to bring back coal mines or all this other stuff. But Andrew Yang's tackling it in a different way. He goes, I know it's going to disappear and your jobs are being automated away. Well, let me show you this solution, right? We have all this fucking money here and we're putting it into things that we don't see. We could take just a chunk of that money and give you $1,000 a month. It's going to cycle that money back into our economy. It's going to create more jobs. Simple solution. There you go. Bing, bang, boom. And for me, I don't know too much, but it sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds great for sure. And I think he's talking to the common person.
Yes, he is, because I'm the common person and it's working on me.
That's how Trump won, because people were just sleeping on, like the left was completely sleeping on, people that were just losing jobs to manufacturing and like.
They just didn't understand like the common person's plight. And even for me too, because I live in California, we live in a very tech heavy area.
Yeah.
That type of problem to me seems so small. And I forget how much of this country is like middle America.
Yeah.
And to me, they just didn't exist.
Yeah. And I mean, like, they might care about gay rights here and there, but I think people first and foremost care about how they're going to feed their family.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about if my son is gay or not. It's like, I'm trying to feed them, like, I don't know what to do. I think that's a really strong case to talk about. It's like,
I mean, if people don't even believe that money moves things, I mean, think about something like this, right? Just 5 years ago, or what was it, 5 years ago? It's been like that, right? Weed was criminalized.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason why it's not now?
Well, because the tax is like 20%. I shit you not. They take a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. And people, it's like, that's something, it's simple as that, right? Because weed was the crazy drug. Weed was the stuff that was a gateway drug for you doing cocaine, LSD, all that other shit, right?
Yep.
But all of a sudden, hey man, what are you talking about? Weed's great.
And the way it got illegal is actually a money move too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. So this guy had a patent for I think it was like polyester, some mixed fabric shit, right? And then this dude came out with an invention on how to like process hemp better. So hemp is actually just marijuana. It's the same thing, right? But there were a lot of hemp products in the US. Like the plant is awesome. You could weave baskets. We could fucking build a lot of shit with it. And this guy worked with the government to make it illegal so that he could sell his like mixed fabric shit.
Oh, okay.
And then so they branded, they made a hemp and marijuana illegal because basically like they're like, yeah, they came up with this word because I guess like, you know, they go, oh, black people and Mexicans are getting high off of this crazy drug. And they had this whole campaign to demonize it. So it was always tied to money.
Yeah.
And then can you think of all the people that's been going to jail, criminalized, all that just for smoking some weed?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And so many lives were ruined because of this law. But I think there's popping up a marijuana museum pretty soon. It's like in LA somewhere. I want to go check it out, but it's like the history of marijuana.
I feel like sometimes too, like criminalizing certain things that don't really have that much of a harmful effect, and to a certain extent, right? Makes you want to do it more. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like even like alcohol, like it makes me want to drink it more based on the fact that you probably shouldn't.
And that was illegal. And look at how much the mafia profited because it was illegal, you know? And it all goes back to money, right? So like, and they legalized it because they don't want to miss out on the tax dollars. It's just crazy. Like, I don't understand why when I bring this up, people think conspiracy or other things. And it's kind of like this. So I'll even bring it back to Earth where it's like Hollywood, right? People think Hollywood is very racist. And I go, no, they're just greedy. They might be racist. I don't know. But I think they're first and foremost very greedy. And it's so like, yeah, because they go where the money goes, right? And then lately, there's more love toward the Asians, right? So like they're like, oh, Mulan is finally Disney's doing the right move, and finally, you know, like
the right move is because it's gonna make money, dude.
Bam, right? You know why? Because the first Mulan didn't go popular in China. They're like, the fuck this story. Yeah. Like this is fake. They got a talking dragon and shit. That's why they wanted a historically accurate Mulan, so China will buy.
Yeah.
The Avengers fucking made 600 like mil domestically, but 2.5 billion internationally.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they made like dollar for dollar the same amount in China or some shit. Like they made a fuck ton of money in China. It was like 4 billion yuan. I don't know.
Yeah. And like, you know, for this stuff that's, I guess like progressive in a positive way, like I'm on that wave of like, I really do appreciate it, you know, but to say that the reason why, for example, like they give credit to Disney, you know, they say stuff like, or not just Disney, let's just use any company, right? And they go, dude, that's so progressive of them. If it wasn't
based off of feelings.
Yeah. If it wasn't profitable, they wouldn't have fucking done it.
Hell no.
Period. End of story. And, it's there's nothing to argue with that.
It isn't. It's a business.
100%. If everybody was against it and they knew that they weren't going to sell anything with it, they wouldn't have made that move. They wouldn't have made such huge statements about it, right? Even in terms of things that are like body positive, right? If Nike, if everybody was against Nike selling larger clothing, they would not have done a larger clothing line where they're showing bigger mannequins and stuff. Is because everybody is in a good way too. It's a positive thing that is happening in my personal opinion. But to say that that company made that move based on a moral decision is a very shallow way of thinking.
Right, because we all know that America is one of the biggest obese countries in the world. So they're gonna sell a lot of gym clothes
for sure
for obese people. It's you know, like what the fuck, you know? It's like duh. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe a lot of people don't see the world this way, so they're hoping that people are moral and they're like, well, there's probably somebody there that fought for this, and maybe that's true. But at the end of the day, decisions are made by companies and politics and business because of a lot of it is because of money. Yeah, a lot of it is. I don't want to say all of it,
Yeah.
you know, because there might be like some, like, let's say Nike CEO's wife really cared about something, and then she was like, you know, honey, I want this, and then he was like, well, maybe I'll try to put it in. Like that happens too, you know, or like their kid is really like fighting for something, and then they're like, Dad, would do this?
Yeah.
Like that, those things happen. But like I think in general, if you look at how things are working, it's always tied to like someone getting paid, group getting paid, group benefiting, or group winning.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. It's never like, oh man, they don't want to hire us Asians. Dude, they'll hire us Asians and us Asians only if we made a fuck ton of money for them.
Yeah.
If Asian male leads were getting like billions and billions of dollars like all the time, then we would wipe out the competition and there'll be no other male leads but us.
Man, it even goes further into talking about, let's not even talk about on a human level, talking about certain topics that are controversial or quote unquote what people say is controversial.
Yeah.
It doesn't even just give them monetary value, it gives them like social currency, right? For example, when we first started doing what we were doing, right? We just wanted to represent who we were, right? And then during this time, there wasn't like too many people like backing us up saying like, oh yeah, there are Asian people like that or whatever. There was a certain amount, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But now the wave is like Asian Americans need to stand up. And all of a sudden these motherfuckers come out the woodwork. It's like, yo man, I've been supporting, you know, Asian Americans. We need to get more Asian Americans on the screen. It's like, yo, where the fuck were you, you know, 8 years ago?
I know. And
you weren't there. It's easy because you could do that now, because when you write that on Twitter, you get 800 likes, 1,000 likes. You're getting social currency from it.
Yeah.
Just on that understanding, you should understand how important it is or how money works, right?
Right.
If it works like that on a social level, it's clearly going to work like that on a monetary level, because back in the day when it wasn't really cool to say that, you were scared. You were just like, no,
they didn't have the courage.
Yeah, you're looking around your shoulder to see if other people are agreeing with you. So I mean, people know that they do that. I see a lot of Asian Americans who were very quiet before
that are now, they're puffing up their chests and they feel like they can talk now.
Yeah, they're just talking shit about everybody else. It's like, yo, man, like you weren't there when it counted the most. Now it's easy for you to do that.
Now it's not really brave. Like, so it's like this. It's like in the 60s, being that Asian guy marching down while police are fucking like spraying hoses like water at you and smacking you around, and you're fighting to get the Asian American studies into your university. Asians had to do that shit, right? They had to actually literally fight and lock down campus. I think it was Berkeley or whatever, so we could have a multicultural studies program. And it's crazy because they were having shit thrown at them for doing this. And I'm like, okay, that's ballsy. Going on Twitter and having a few thoughts, that to me, I don't care what, I don't give a damn how people think about me, but I think that's some bitch shit.
Well, yeah.
That is a complete weakness.
Oh, 100%. And you know, I'm like, I love fucking Twitter, dude. Like, Twitter makes me laugh. There's a bunch.
I love talking shit.
Yeah, there's some funny shit on there, you know. But when I see some of these things that people post where they go, you know what, you shouldn't treat people like this because of this. Oh, that's how you're doing it, because you're trying to see what that emotional tick is that other people have, so you can get the retweet.
Yeah,
it's not because that's a moral stance of yours.
No, you just try. It's like that one Asian kid that went viral, calling that little white girl in a Chinese dress. He fucking talked shit, saying your dress is not my culture is not your fucking costume or whatever, right? And then later, people dig up all this shit. He was using the N-word. He was
with a hard fucking R.
Yup. He was talking mad shit. It's like, man, you ain't about that fucking activist life, dude.
It's so fucking dumb. It's funny too, because we did that video where we were talking about the whole. Was it Dino and Chemo or whatever? You know, the Poncho people that they were out in fucking Highland Park in East LA and shit like that.
Yeah.
And some people, you know, there was like some Mexican folks that were like, oh, we don't care if people wear ponchos. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's understandable. But how you feel about that doesn't mean that those people who live in those heavily Mexican areas that are Mexican, they can also feel like they're not cool with it too.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't speak for that whole culture. I guess, I mean, we all do that sometimes too, right? Because we're putting ourselves in those boots. I think the poncho wasn't an issue. Like ponchos are hot. I've been like in the last like 2 years ago, like ponchos got really big. People were wearing it for fashion, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the poncho that was offensive. It was the fucking mustache, the sombrero, the fucking...
Or I don't know what they were recording.
Yeah, they were recording. They were making I think that dude in the video was upset because the guy was trying to profit off of making fun of Mexican people. That's what it was. They're not always mad about the actual poncho, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking used to wear sombreros all the time just because it kept the sun out of my head. You know what I mean? Because I used to get it at the flea markets a lot. Yeah. And that's all Mexican folks. There's Mexican and Korean people all the time. So I used to wear like sombreros when I was used to working at this place called Denayos out in Sacramento.
I feel like people are just getting more and more socially stupid, and they just don't understand context. Like, I throw this word around a lot, but I just want people to understand that just words and things are just like
just objects or something.
Yes. And it there's a feeling attached to that, and you got to read what that means, and it takes time. But man, it's just damn. There's so much misunderstandings going on.
Yeah,
man.
like for example, you know, it's getting summer and it gets hot. There's something that I wear. So a really good friend of mine named Amen, her mom got me a fucking dashiki when she went to Africa, right? Yeah. I wear that shit during the summer because it's nice and cool, right? But
it's meant to be in hot areas.
Yeah, it just feels good. And I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. It's dope, right? And I'm not going outside wearing the dashiki going, how are you today? You know what I mean?
My name is David.
I know. Hello, my name is Dave. What do you want to drink today? Like, I'm not going out there with an African accent. I'm wearing the fucking dashiki because it was a gift and I like the way it looks and it's dope. You know what I mean? I'm not mocking the culture. I'm appreciating it, right? And even then, some people have some shit to say to it, right? They'll be like, oh, why you wear it? Like, don't wear that shit. It's like, I was like, bro, I bet, do you have a fucking dashiki straight from Africa given to me by an African woman? You shut the fuck up. She tells me it's okay. I'm going to fucking wear it.
Oh, man. You know? That's just crazy.
So so context does matter, right?
I did read a lot of stuff too, because we don't have fans that are only from America, right? Like we have, or Western countries. Like we have Malaysian fans, like Singapore fans, like fans that grew up in Asia all their lives, but like went to international school. And a lot of them, I read that they don't understand, like, hey, what's the difference of cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation? And they're like, I don't understand, like, why.
That is an interesting line, huh?
Yeah, because they're like, when people come to our countries and then they dress up in our traditional stuff and play around, and we're like, dude, that's so awesome. Like, feels like we're sharing our culture. And I think there was like a huge like discussion. It might be in that video's comment or something like that. But I was reading it and I'm like, man, Genius Brain fans are really fucking smart, because a lot of people were trying to decipher it. Like, they're like, hey, I'm another Malaysian too. And like, I think it means like when someone takes over your culture and then like they mess it all up and they're trying to like own it. And I'm like, oh, that's
like it's cool because I said it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of really hard to explain. I think just because America is like, race relations is something that's so fucking sensitive here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's in other countries there's some shit like that too, right? But for some reason in this country, when it comes to ethnicity and race, I mean, just because of like how this country has been, the foundation that's been based on, and a lot of the shit that's happened, people who aren't from here or grew up here, they don't understand it, right? So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even that one girl in that video that we were talking about, she was like, what is she, like Eastern European? And she's like, hey, I'm an immigrant too. Like, I'm on the same side. But it's we all kind of go, well, it doesn't kind of count because you're white.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that's true. But why not? Because there are poor white immigrants that come to America too.
There's just like history behind it that a lot of people just don't wish to acknowledge. I mean, not wish to acknowledge because they just don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
So somebody like that, she is an immigrant. She doesn't understand, and
it is the history part.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is.
And the fallacy on her part is that she wants people to understand that, oh, I'm not from here, so it's okay for me. It's like, no, when you go to, it's like us, wherever country that you go, you have to adjust to how that country is.
Yes.
Right? You can't force what you believe in how it was for you in Eastern Europe here in the States. it doesn't work, and it goes the other way around.
Hell yeah. That's like me going to Japan and being like, why can't I fucking complain at the restaurant?
Yeah.
The way I want it done my way. Like, I don't want fucking eggs in my shit.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, get the fuck out, dude. Like, then why did you come here?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
it's a different place.
It's such a weird place to be in. And I feel like with race relations now, specifically in this country, people are just being a lot more mindful of it. So it's so shaky. It's like everybody's fucking walking on eggshells right now.
Well, I think we're more diverse now than ever before, which is a good thing. But this is what's going on. I think America actually we all share the same country, but it's been very segregated for a long time, right? Like there's white bubbles, there's Asian bubbles. Sure, there might be some cities where there's some mixing, and then some groups might have some multiculturalism in their group, but for the most part, right, people stuck to their own groups. And unless you're very Americanized, if you're immigrant, that's even more apparent. Like immigrant communities or whatever, they just stick to like their Vietnamese town or whatever, right? But now this is what's happening, is that in the past, you only had the media being the funnel and controlling the representation of the black people or what the Asian people think, right? Now we have the internet and we can be ourselves comfortably. Like no one has to act a certain way in front of white people to make them comfortable, or we can see what rich white people think so differently from poor white people. We can see the difference in region, and we're all sharing this one big conversation together. So there's going to be fighting. There's going to be people that are still alive today that experienced segregation and racism are online. So there's a lot of pain from them. There's white kids that grew up in a complete bubble that have no idea that this pain existed. So like Jess, she didn't know. She thought that this was all history, and she didn't know that there was actually still tensions today. Because I mean, she only grew up with mainly whites and then Mexicans, and then the Mexicans there are cool, and there's no race tensions. So like maybe because it's a small town, so everyone got along, but like yeah, she was kind of like, damn, dude, I didn't know that all this stuff really was still tense.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, so when you get these people together, now we can talk like online, right? Like what other time did we ever have in our history where a poor Asian kid, you know, from Gardena can have a conversation with a, you know, rich old white guy in New York or whatever. Yeah. Like, or like a straight up Southern like tobacco farmer watch a GeniusBrain episode and be like, yo, these guys are funny. And then like, you know, like this is crazy, right? So then now we have this like multiculturalism and diversity and talking and all that. And then people are finding out, I think white people are finding out that they weren't so popular after all, or they're hearing all the thoughts of what minorities think. They're hearing our thoughts and like the pain, and they're just like, whoa, oh shit, this fucking sucks. So you have some people that are like, I got to do something about this. And then they're hella liberal. They want to talk for minorities, and it's like, well, you don't have to talk for us, but yeah, just be with us, you know, or whatever. And it's just different. And then you have the other one that's like, yo, man, I was never born during this whole racism shit, and I'm just a new white guy, and why the fuck am I the bad guy? You know, like, and I think all these crazy things are happening right now, and we'll work it out. Yeah.
It's just, you know, opinion versus facts too. A lot of people lack tact when they say things.
And things get, especially over text.
Yeah, things get fucked up. Oh, Twitter's the best example of it, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, you guys, that ends this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast.
Very political, this one.
Yeah. I think, you know what, people have been asking about these type of things. Because like I said, one of the things that I hate the most is when I go on any type of Instagram platform and they ask, yo, you know, you should talk about politics. Like, bitch, I don't know fucking shit about politics. I'm not saying shit. It's weird when they attack.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah, they attack influencers, right? They go, how fucking dare King Batch not put his 2 cents about politics. Maybe because the motherfucker doesn't know.
What if he's something that you don't like?
Yeah, they want to hear about our political views. It's like, well, what the fuck? What makes our political views viable?
Listen to politicians about their political views, not fucking normal ass people. Like, especially like entertainers. Entertainers are some of the dumbest motherfuckers on earth, dude.
Exactly.
Like, we're clowns, man.
Yeah. Like,
But-
this is all just opinions and thoughts. And so sometimes people get upset. They go, well, it's like, well, I can't believe you're saying these facts. I never said they were fucking facts. I'm saying these are just my thoughts. You run with it however the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, dude, politics gets fucking touchy, man. You just got to be so careful. I don't give a fuck. I just say shit.
Yeah. It's done based on your own research, right?
Yeah. And I love politics in a way that it's like, the same way I look at conspiracy theories.
It's drama, homie.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just entertainment. Yeah, it's not even like real.
Yeah, that's the one when you come to these like conversations. I feel like a lot of people want to be very argumentative and debate certain things. But if you are going to do that, I say like come ready then. You know, come ready. Come ready to the table with facts that you think to be true, and then you could have a civil discussion. That's why that dude, what's his name? Steven Crowder. Yeah. He there's a reason why he goes to college campuses and he wants random college kids to come up to him.
It's easy to catch him slipping.
Yeah, because he has his binder full of facts. He studied and he's ready to go with his statistics. But then you come up as an emotional 18-year-old college kid that just hates what he does. You're not going to win that argument, dude. And you have to understand too, from that guy's point of view, he has tactics in order to make you sound dumb, even though you're not dumb. You know, that's like his skill set. So
and a lot of the times he's not saying anything that wrong or controversial.
It's stuff that hurts their feelings.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of stuff that he says that I disagree with. And I saw a couple of his videos, like I won't say a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 of his videos. Yeah. And there was one video where he got destroyed by this kid.
Yeah.
It was they were talking about socialism.
Yeah.
And this kid comes up and fucking rips him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and because he was losing the debate, fucking Steven Crowder became like the college kids, where he got super emotional. He started like making fun of the kid, like getting in his face, cutting him off. And every time he tried to say something very poignant in his conversation, he would try to deter the conversation and say, "Oh, well, what does that word mean? Well, what does that word mean? Explain what that," because he's trying to make the kid sound dumb as possible. God. And it was so funny because he put up the video in guise of thinking that he actually destroyed this kid. But when you looked at it and you read all the comments, like, dude, this fucking like 19-year-old kid just destroyed you, because he got flustered and he got angry. So, it happens with him too.
Yeah.
So,
but the reason why I like guys like that is that they make it about the conversation.
Yeah.
No more extremism. Like people, if you debate, you don't have if you don't have agreements, it's fine, but talk it out in person, put it on, like, have discussions. That's what this whole shit is about, you know?
Yeah. And they should already know, like, his topic of like change my mind isn't change my mind. He wants to debate somebody.
Yes.
So come ready, man. You should know him already. Just come ready.
And that's the battlefield, man. That's like, let's have a rap battle. And then you can't come in and be like, but I just want to play the drums. Yeah. It's not a fucking rap battle, bro. Yeah. Like, fucking come ready with your fucking lines.
Yeah, man. The guy's a smart dude. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the GeniusBrain GeniusBrain Podcast. You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, whatever that it may be. Make sure that you leave us a 5-star on iTunes. Leave comments below. Talk about your opinions. Have discussions with each other. You don't even have to talk about the stuff that we specifically said and respond to us. Talk to other people in the comments.
And also, we got a Patreon now too.
Yep. Yes, we do have a Patreon.
Patreon.com/GeniusBrain. We have exclusive things that we want to talk about. Especially it's special for Genius Brain fans, because they're all the content is generated by the community.
Yep.
And it's special talks and topics and questions that are made by the community.
An extra few minutes of us in your day and your lives.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, y'all. See you next time. Peace.
Bye.